The following program is a production of Pioneer Public Television.
You become a teenager and you grow up, and all of a sudden you realize, like, oh, wow, he's really good at something, and there's stuff to be learned here.
When this great big huge tom came in and I shot it, I was hooked. After that I started saying, I gotta do this more.
This is the one time when we get 4 generations of us out in one spot, and it's really special.
The open prairie of the upper Midwest is home and a destination for people who love the outdoors, to hunt, fish, and enjoy outdoor recreation provided by our vast resources of lakes, rivers, trails, and grasslands. Here we connect with the natural world and leave the stresses of our daily lives behind. Welcome to Prairie Sportsman. I'm your host, Brett Amundsen. And this week, we climb a tree with accomplished bow hunter Anita Zelenka. Then we'll tag along with Richard Halterman, the patriarch of 4 generations of bow hunters. Finally, we visit with Doug Peterson, a hunter, bow maker, and an incredible scrimshaw artist, and also his son Brooke, an accomplished woodcarver.
Funding for this project was provided by the Minnesota Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, as recommended by the Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota Resources, and by American Surplus, Ice Castle Fish House RV, Minnesota's largest manufacturer of premium portable ice fish houses, and a proud supporter of the annual February Ice Castle Classic Fishing Tournament. More information at icecastlefh.com. And by Live Wide Open, a regional movement that encourages people to make a great life for themselves in West Central Minnesota. More at livewideopen.com.
Hunting with a bow takes dedication. It requires hundreds of hours of practice and hundreds more waiting for your prey to come close enough for a lethal mortal shot. While archery hunting has been around since primitive times, its popularity is soaring today. Men and women are showing they are up to the challenge of perfecting their skills with a bow. Few are more dedicated than Anita Zelenka of rural Watson, Minnesota. She started getting serious about bow hunting 5 years ago to be active in the outdoors with her husband Paul and 2 sons. Now she spends more time hunting than her guys do. We went out to visit Anita in mid-October, the day after she shot a buck from about 30 yards away from a tree stand in the Lac-Qui-Parle Wildlife Refuge. From a deer stand that she uses for target practice, Anita vividly describes how she got her deer.
I was in a pine tree. And so there's a lot of branches like this, so you have, like, there's a clear shot here, and there was a okay shot over that way. It was a okay shot because you got branches you got to worry about. But that's part of hunting. I saw the deer, I rattled just a little bit, so give him a reason to come. So he started coming this way, but he didn't come to my clear shot. He came over there. So I'm like, dang. So I was ready, I had my stand, I was ready to where I could have shot like this beautifully. But oh no, he had to go over there. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I couldn't shoot him sitting down because there was too many branches. So I had to go like this and move back close to the tree, like this, and then I had to bend down a little to get like this. And that's how I did it. So, and you don't have a lot of time because they don't stand there and say, oh, shoot me, you know, they've got their own business. He's on looking for something else. So, and then, you know, I called my husband and said, I'm pretty sure I just got a lethal shot. And so he came and we tracked him, and then we found him about 300 yards away, and he was dead. So
Anita and Paul estimate the buck weighed 160 to 170 pounds. And from it, they processed about 100 pounds of meat for steaks, burgers, stews, and jerky. But we all know wild game isn't free. Besides a specialized Mathews Solo Cam bow and arrows at $15 each, Anita has invested thousands of hours into perfecting her shot.
My first year of deer hunting, I hunted on the ground. But it's so much more fun in a tree because you can see so much more. You know, you can see a deer coming from way over there. And I used to be afraid of heights too. So I still have a healthy respect for being up high. So it's it's different up here. It's nice to sit and look and have a bird's eye view, I guess.
Anita secures herself to the tree with a safety belt.
I feel safer when I have this on as well. So I use it all the time. It does not interfere with hunting.
Anita almost never misses when she practices. All 3 arrows are on target.
Well, these are all would be called lethal, mortal, and would be mortally wounded if it got either of these shots, because it's all heart, lungs, liver, and the deer wouldn't go very far.
Not many years ago, Anita didn't think she had any talent for hunting.
Prior to that, I tried it off and on for both bow and gun hunting deer for like 20 years. But you know, it's hard when your kids are young, you didn't feel like you could, and I wasn't any good. I didn't practice enough and I wasn't good. And then it turned out, my husband said, maybe you should be shooting left-handed, because I'm right-handed, but I'm left-eye dominant. And once I switched over, when I started to get serious about it and I switched over, I'm successful. So I keep shooting.
Anita was hooked on hunting. But when she started going after wild turkeys, that's when the passion set in.
So the very first year I shot my deer, I was hooked. I was like telling the boys, oh my God, this is so much fun. I want to do more. I'm going to hunt turkeys in the spring. My youngest son goes, Mom, if you want to shoot a turkey, you better get a gun. Pretty tough to shoot a turkey at the bow till you're really good at it. And if you really want to hunt turkeys, you need to use a gun. I said, so that's where I started with the guns. So the first time I went turkey hunting, when we called in, this great big huge tom came in and I shot it, I was hooked. After that, I started saying, I got to do this more. For the turkey I shot with a bow this year, I was pretty excited because I didn't have a blind. A lot of people in the spring use a blind because turkeys see so well. And I just sat behind some tree branches and I saw them a half mile away. And the whole time, I shoot left-handed and they're coming from behind. So I have to sit like this and you can't move. If they see you move, then you're busted. And sure enough, they came, and as soon as they had their backs to me and they were fanned out, I drew back. And as soon as it turned around and faced me, I shot it. And I tell you, no one was there, but I screamed. I was so excited. I think that not everybody would agree with me, but I really like turkey hunting. I don't know why. It's just probably because they are just so hard to get close to when it's not breeding season. Most of the guys wouldn't agree with me. See, this last couple of weeks, I said, well, I'm going to go turkey hunting, and if I see a deer, I'll shoot it. Whereas most guys go, like my sons will say, I'm going deer hunting, and if I see a turkey, I'll shoot it, you know, if they have a turkey license. So
Anita's love of hunting goes beyond outsmarting her prey. It's her way to relax and bond with nature.
Like one time I was sitting in a tree right here in our land, and I had, and this is no lie, at least 75, I'm estimating that, blue jays land in the tree I'm in and the tree next to me. This whole swarm comes in, they just land, and they look at you, and they're like inches away, and you look at them, and then they realize you, and then they flutter away. I mean, I don't know how to explain that, but that's a pretty powerful feeling.
We asked Anita why more women don't follow her lead and pursue the art of hunting.
There is becoming more and more women. It's becoming a surgence of it. Like I can actually say that these pants here are designed for women. They got elastic in the waistband. It didn't used to be that way. So I think women hunting is becoming more popular, but it hasn't been because of the barriers of just not being trained when you're younger, you know. Boys, it's like a rite of passage for a boy to learn how to shoot and hunt. Right? I mean, if you live out here in the country, boys are trained to hunt at a very young age. And a girl, unless they have a lot of interest, isn't. I never was. I never was encouraged to growing up. So I think that's part of it.
They were going every direction.
And I also think when women, like younger women, like if you've got young children, I hate to say it, but women are we're very responsible. We think about I tried it when I was younger. I tried to hunt, and I'd think about, oh, I need to do laundry, I need to get supper going, I thought about all the things I need to do, and I think it's easier for guys to just like, yeah, we'll worry about that stuff later, I'm going hunting, you know? I think more and more women are hunting, but they're not hunting alone. I think that's what, I'm a little different than a lot of women, is because I don't need to have my husband or boyfriend take me hunting. Some of it's fear. Actually, when I first started going hunting by myself, like let's say 5 years ago by myself with a bow, I would get afraid of like coyotes howling and, you know, seeing a raccoon or something. I mean, it sounds stupid to say that, but I really was. But I just learned to not be afraid anymore. I learned that I'm the predator. They're more afraid of me. I overcame a lot. I overcame fear by hunting by myself, because you come back when it's dark or you go out when it's dark. And I also have gotten really strong. So I think more women would hunt if they could overcome some of those fears.
Anita's passion for hunting in the outdoors balances off her demanding job as a registered nurse at a Chippewa County hospital.
It's a pretty high demanding, actually kind of a stressful job when you're taking care of people, and there's some of the things involved with it. So I find that I don't need to go to work out at an exercise place or do meditation or even drink. This is what I do, is I hunt to relax and enjoy nature.
Anita's hunting venture started as a way to spend more time with her sons and husband. Now she's the primary hunter in the family.
He will tell you that I hunt way more than he does. He'll tell anybody I hunt way more than he does, but he did it all his life. I say, tell everybody, I'm making up for lost time. And as soon as I get off work, I go hunting, and some mornings I go hunting before work, so it's just really what makes me happy. It keeps me sane, I guess.
Anita became a passionate bow hunter only 5 years ago. Richard Halterman Sr., on the other hand, has been bow hunting for over 5 decades. He started in the 1960s when archery wasn't popular, and hunters didn't have high-tech thermal gear to endure long hours in the tree stand. To stay warm, they pulled on Old Navy gear or Air Force flight suits and boots.
It was pretty hard to climb a tree with them on, I'll tell you that.
At age 86, Richard is a patriarch of 4 generations of bow hunters. When we stopped at his farm near Montevideo, he was preparing for a deer hunt, along with his son Butch, grandson Wade, and great-grandson Jaden.
I have a daughter that bow hunts too, and her husband, and she gets deer pretty near every year. She's really good. So there's a lot of us bow hunting out of my family.
Yeah, see, I never started hunting until about, well, he'll tell you stories. He tells the story like I came home from college, you know, and a hippie, you know, and he had these nice deer hanging there, and he said, look at those beautiful deer. And I said, yeah, they'd be beautiful. They were still running wild and free in the woods. But after I got that first deer, I called my dad, and my dad reminded me of that story. But after, you know, I got my first deer, I felt like, oh, my God, I'm bringing one home for the tribe, you know, and you get this feeling that I had never felt before. I'd shot pheasants and ducks, but I never had that feeling when I saw those. It took me 5 years to get my first deer, because he'd get mad at me for reading a book, you know, in the tree stand. No, you can't be doing that, you know. And but pretty soon I caught on. I got that first deer, and I think I've only missed 1 year since then of not getting a deer. It makes everything all come together when you're sitting in that tree stand. You understand that you're part of something bigger. And I love being with my grandson, my son, and my dad. This guy got 100 on his hunting test, 100% on his hunter training test. So, high score in the class.
Wade, age 37, was taught by his grandfather to hunt when he was 13 years old.
He used to bring me along slug hunting and sit me out in a snow patch or up in a pine tree somewhere, and I'd sneak off and go and drink hot chocolate while he'd see all the deer.
Eventually, Wade developed Grandpa's love of archery hunting.
The greatest thing about bow hunting is going out there and sitting up in the tree, and nothing knows that you're there. You know, nothing can smell you, nothing can see you. Everything just goes on like it normally does. And it's really nice and tranquil, it's nice and peaceful, and there's no better time to just sit and think than when you're up in a tree stand. It brings 4 generations of family together, And since I can remember, this is the one time when we get 4 generations of us out in one spot, and it's really special.
The thing about bow hunting, when I started, it wasn't very popular. The rifle hunters would accuse the bow hunters of crippling deer, just like they didn't, you know. And we had to defend ourselves. And I think a bow hunter, if he started like when I did, you put a lot of effort into tracking a deer. I don't care if it takes all day or the next morning or whatever, if it's cold. I mean,
sometimes we spent
you want to
7
find
hours.
that deer. We don't want to leave it.
Because of a bad arm, Richard Halterman started hunting with a crossbow about 8 years ago. In Minnesota, anyone with a license can hunt deer, bear, and turkey with a crossbow during firearm season. But during archery season, crossbow hunters must hold a disability permit or be over the age of 60. Before he heads out to his deer stand, Richard assembles his crossbow with a little help from his son and great-grandson.
Goes in, okay, there we go. Yeah.
And then you got to twist it up.
This must go in like this then, I see. Uh-oh, that ain't gonna be easy, Father.
Yeah, but don't go like that. It goes to this side.
It goes on that side.
I couldn't wind it.
Do we have a...
Philip?
Hey, you know what? I think I can actually get it, maybe. Pretty talented. Guitar fingers.
Crossbow hunting's popularity is increasing in the Midwest. It doesn't require as much arm strength as a traditional bow because the archer draws back the string, cocks the crossbow, and leaves it until ready to shoot, rather than drawing back and holding while aiming. The 4 head out to hunt in different locations. None of them happen to bag a deer that day, but it's not the primary reason they go out with a bow.
When you're out there, it's all clear. It's really clear. You're just part of something really big. You're part of nature. You're part of something that's much bigger than anything that's happening.
Swan Lake is unique because of its size, 10,000 acres, and because it is a shallow lake which has vegetation growing from the bottom all the way to the surface. This unique combination provides food sources for a lot of wildlife species, waterfowl particularly. This is the water control structure which allows us to manage the water levels in the lake as well as keeping undesirable fish from getting into the lake. Primarily we're trying to keep common carp out of the lake. They cause a lot of damage in the nature of how they feed by stirring up bottom sediments and creating cloudy water conditions. And those cloudy water conditions choke out the sunlight and don't allow the plants that the entire food chain depends on to survive. And so what you end up with is a lake that is clear of any vegetation and very, very cloudy, and that does not provide good habitat for any wildlife.
Fishermen, recreational boat users, anyone who has watercraft on the lake, the key points to remember are to clean, drain, and dispose.
This segment has been brought to you by the Aquatic Invasive Species Task Forces of Big Stone, Candy, Ojai, and Yellow Medicine counties.
Our final visit is with another longtime bow hunter from Montevideo, Minnesota, who has carved his love of the outdoors into pieces of lasting beauty. Doug Peterson grew up hunting with his dad and developed a passion for chasing whitetails with a bow as he got older. After first hunting with recurves or longbows, he switched to the more popular compounds. Then 15 years ago, he and a few friends decided to go back to recurves and make their own.
I think this is probably from one of our earlier ones, and we've adapted them over the years and made them a lot faster shooting. We basically started making them because we'd all gone back to recurves, and it just added another little. We were all buying custom-made bows for $7,000, $8,000. Well, you can spend $2,000, $3,000 for some of the really better ones. So we thought we'd try it. Well, at one point there was 5 guys in here making bows, and we usually make a new one every year and try to shoot a deer with it the next year.
To make this recurve, Doug purchased laminations the right thickness for a 50-pound bow that will shoot 200 feet per second.
You got 2 laminations, the glass on both sides. You get another piece of wood here. This is separate. This is separate. So you're probably looking at 10 pieces of different woods. I mean, some of the bows they're making now are so elaborate that they're a work of art. I mean, they're gorgeous.
The bow is adorned with snakeskin from a roadkill found by a Texas friend.
The ones we make now are actually, they're a fairly decent bow. They shoot well. So this one is shot, this is probably one of the bows I made that probably I've shot 3 or 4 deer with.
Doug reminisces about his first experience shooting a deer with a handcrafted bow, an experience he is passing down to his descendants.
It was a special moment, actually, to realize you'd made this thing, and actually it was more special this year. My grandson shot a deer with a bow that he and I made together, so I think that was even more special than me shooting one, you know, so it was kind of cool.
Archery hunting led Doug to another passion, looking for shed antlers and turning them into works of art. After talking with a local scrimshaw artist, Doug decided to learn the painstakingly meticulous technique, using a center punch to scratch a detailed design onto antler bone.
It originated probably with the whalers or the Eskimos. Which one was first, I don't know. But it's making small scratch marks on, well, for the whalers it was whale teeth or whale bone of some kind. And it was tobacco juice and some other ash or something they used for the blackening part of it. And it's all little bitty scratch marks, and I basically do the whole piece working in the reflection of the light, and you wipe either black oil paint or India ink, anything black, you know. Oil paint for me works the best, I guess. And it's not something somebody can actually just teach you. I mean, you kind of got to learn yourself.
Doug's talent isn't lost on his son Brooke.
The scrimshaw part of what my dad does is got to be one of the most difficult art forms out there. I mean, it would be like a tattoo artist, like tattooing in invisible ink, and then when he's done, you put a light on it and everything shows up. All your mistakes, everything that you do shows up at the end. And you don't have a clue till you're done with it.
Doug's first pieces sold for $2 or $3. Now, they're up to $400 per piece, particularly those etched on Doug's favorite ivory, the tusks of ancient mastodons. Though the giant mammals have been extinct for 10,000 years, the tusks have come up from melting glaciers. Mastodon ivory is soft, but much denser than deer antlers, so Doug can get better detail. In the 1970s, Doug could purchase a chunk for less than $200. Today, that same piece could sell for thousands. Doug only does his art in the winter. During the summer, he and Brooke run a tree trimming service, which supplies plenty of wood for their sawmill and shop. There, Doug makes rustic furniture and his specialty, canoe paddles carved from basswood. We watch the master carver at work.
Now, if I tried to do this that way, I would end up with a chunk coming off it. So working with wood and carving, it's all which direction you're going. I could sit and do this. The scrimshaw is tedious. This is relaxing.
Brooke is also talented with wood. He collaborates with his dad on making bows, canoe paddles, and unique pieces like an upright piano repurposed into a coat hanger. But he has his own unique style and pieces he likes to carve.
I feel like our styles are completely opposite. He likes to work in very small, minuscule type of thing. I like to do bigger. I like to go bigger do things a little bit more off the wall than he does, you know. I don't want to call it abstract, but more design, more figures, shapes type of stuff, you know. But, I mean, the wood burning I do is kind of a version of scrimshaw, if you think about it. It's a contrast between white and black, or a silhouette type of art.
Brooke carves a wide variety, like spoons, spatulas, and signs, but he's most proud of his bones and boards.
Lifelong skateboarder. I'm not gonna shy away from that one. That one, ever since, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. Once we got the sawmill, and just one day I was like, hey, I can make longboards, you know.
Brooke is also fascinated with bones and antlers. He carves skull mounts to hold antler sheds and morel mushrooms and mystical creations like bone bugs.
This is the first one I've done of this. These are coyote rib bones, coyote shoulder blades, and coyote came off the, not the hip joints, but the pelvic bone, and then just a little piece of oak in the middle, and it looks kind of like a flying grasshopper, I would call it.
Brooke may be carving his own path, but he still looks up to the one who taught him to love art at a young age.
I think a lot of kids don't really appreciate it when their parents are good at something or they do something. I mean, I kind of took it for granted for quite a while, and it just got to, I mean, you become a teenager and you grow up, and all of a sudden you realize, like, oh, wow, he's really good at something, and there's stuff to be learned here.
Thank you for tuning in to Prairie Sportsman. Keep those questions and comments coming in, and be sure to get outdoors this week.
Funding for this project was provided by the Minnesota Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, as recommended by the Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota Resources, and by American Surplus, Ice Castle Fish House RV, Minnesota's largest manufacturer of premium portable ice fish houses, and a proud supporter of the annual February Ice Castle Classic Fishing Tournament. More information at icecastlefh.com. And by Live Wide Open, a regional movement that encourages people to make a great life for themselves in West Central Minnesota. More at livewideopen.com.